If your runoff pH never matches what you feed, that doesn't automatically mean you've done something wrong. Most problems start with what the grower does next. All right, what's up, everyone? We'll give it a second for people to jump in. This episode exists because this question shows up constantly in the shop. In DMs, in comments, I feed 6.2. My runoff says 5.4. Where did I mess up? And I get the anxiety. pH feels like one of those sacred numbers. Like if it's off, nutrients stop working and the plant's quietly dying while you sleep. But here's the calm truth we're going to keep coming back to tonight. A mismatch between input pH and runoff pH is not automatically a problem. The problem usually starts with what growers do next. This is education only, no products, no panic fixes, just understanding how the system behaves so you stop hurting your plants while you're trying to help them. Now, if you're the type of grower who tests runoff, second guesses yourself, and feels like you're one bad watering away from screwing it all up, you're in the right place. If you're looking for a perfect runoff number to chase every time, this episode might feel uncomfortable. That's usually a good sign. All right, well, before we dig in, quick setup. MyRemy is a GPT-style grow assistant. We use it every day here at the shop. It's trained on a massive body of knowledge, forums, grow diaries, user groups, books, catalogs, all of it. What surprises people is how clear the baseline answers are. Even for experienced growers, not hype, just clean pattern recognition. It's trained specifically to understand how growers actually think and talk, not textbook answers, real world language. It's free on our website, gzgrowshops.com, available 24/7, and honestly, a lot of people visit the site just for this tool. Here's how this works. For the first question, I'll flip my phone around so you can see the website, where to click, and how we enter the question into MyRemy. Then I'll read the response out loud, so we're all starting from the same baseline. After that, I'll slow it down and we'll translate it into real-world grower terms. Pause here to everyone jumping on board. What's up? If runoff has ever confused you, just drop a yes in the chat. All right, let's get into it. Question 1. Let's start with the one that causes the spiral. Your pH, you pH your feed carefully, you water, you check runoff, and the number is nowhere near what you put in. And immediately your brain goes, cool, I broke it. If that mismatch, what if that mismatch is normal and not a warning sign? Well, all right, let's ask MyRemy this one so we're all starting from the same place. Before I do, I want to flip the camera around and take you to the Green Zone website. So you see the Green Zone website. We'll just scroll past the free guides, and I'm going to click on the launch chat, and it opens up the MyRemy. It's that easy. I am going to click the microphone, and we will read in our question. Okay. Good question. Click the button and here comes our answer. I will flip the phone back around and we will get into it. So, short answer, because your root zone isn't a clean slate, okay? Your root zone is doing chemistry, not copying homework. When you mix nutrients and set the pH, that number only describes the solution going in. Once it hits the medium, everything changes. Soil, cocoa, and soilless mixes all have buffering power. They grab, release, and trade ions as water moves through. That alone can push pH up or down before the runoff ever leaves the pot. Your roots also get a vote. Plants don't take nutrients evenly. When they absorb more of one ion than another, they shift the pH around the roots. That change shows up in runoff, even if your input was perfect. Salt buildup plays a role too. Old nutrients left in the medium dissolve back into the runoff. Those leftovers can skew the reading, sometimes a lot. And runoff is a blend, not a snapshot. It's fresh feed mixed with whatever was already in the pot, so it rarely matches the input exactly. Here's the key takeaway. Runoff pH is a trend tool, not a report card. Small differences are normal. Big swings or steady drift over time are what matter. If the plant looks happy, don't chase runoff numbers. If the plant looks off, then Runoff helps tell you why. If you want to go a little bougie, consistent watering practices and a stable medium matter more than fancy gear. A reliable pH pen and occasional runoff checks are plenty. And MyRemy going on to say, if anything feels confusing, a photo of the plant clears it up fast. Leaves never lied. So here's the first big unlock. Runoff water is not root zone water. Okay, this pen is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's giving you a number. When we talk about pH or conductivity reading, all that really means is submerging the tip of this pen into a small amount of liquid. You don't need much, usually about an ounce. A shot glass is plenty. The mistake isn't the reading. The mistake is assuming the reading explains the whole system. By the time the water ends up in here, it's already interacted with salts, media, and whatever's been happening in the pot for weeks. And by the time you're pulling runoff into a container like this, you're already downstream of the roots. That's why runoff and input don't match. Quick pause before we move on. If you've ever reacted fast to a runoff number and then regretted it later, you're not alone. Drop a comment if this sounds familiar. All right, well, listen, this is where things usually go sideways. You see runoff you don't like, and the instinct is fast. Flush it, raise pH, lower pH, do something, because doing nothing seems irresponsible. The most common runoff fix is always the fastest way to create new problems. All right, I'm going to gear up MyRemy, the question that matters here. Now, not what you should do next, but what goes wrong when you chase that number. MyRemy, what problems can happen if growers try to correct runoff pH directly instead of focusing on consistent inputs and the plant response? All right, we will await our response. What's up, everybody? All right, here's the straight talk version. When growers chase runoff pH, they're usually reacting to a symptom, not a cause. Runoff is a mix of what you poured in, what the plant didn't use, and what's already sitting in the root zone. It's noisy data. So when you try to fix runoff directly, you often overcorrect. You push the input pH too far one way. Next watering, you push it back the other way. Now the roots are riding a pH roller coaster. That swing stresses the plant. Nutrients lock out, then unlock, then lock again. Leaves start showing multiple deficiency signals that don't make sense together. Not because the plant is picky, but because the root environment is unstable. Another problem is salt buildup. Chasing runoff can lead to heavier feeds or aggressive flushing at the wrong time. That concentrates salts in the media and burns fine root tips. Once roots are damaged, uptake drops even if your numbers look right. And the biggest issue, you stop listening to the plant. Runoff numbers become the boss instead of leaf color, growth rate, and posture. The better move is boring, but it works. Keep your input pH consistent. Feed appropriately for the stage and watch how the plant responds over days, not minutes. Runoff is a clue. It's not a steering wheel. Okay, well, this is the panic loop. Runoff looks off, you flush aggressively, you swing pH hard, and this is where the panic shows up. Now, these are not bad products. They're precision tools, but precision tools used emotionally cause damage. Depending on how you react, you either strip nutrients, overload the root zone, or shock the system chemically. Different paths, same result. Roots get stressed, growth slows, then the plant reacts, and now you're convinced the problem was real. So you push harder, and now you're not fixing anything. You're stacking stress. All right, well, quick check-in before the last question. This is the part that usually changes how people think going forward. If you're still with me, hang tight. So if runoff isn't the steering wheel, actually is. Here's the question growers don't always ask. I shouldn't chase runoff. What should I actually be paying attention to? Because nobody wants to fly blind. They just want to stop stressing the plants. All right, I'm going to ask MyRemy what to prioritize so we stop reacting to noise. MyRemy, when is runoff pH data useful, and what signals should growers prioritize instead when diagnosing plant health? Hit the enter button. By the way, I am speaking into MyRemy. That might be a free feature for you. It might require the paid version, but in any case, you can always access the chat version for free 24/7 on our website. Here's the answer. Runoff pH data is useful, but only in specific moments. It's helpful when you're troubleshooting a real problem, like nutrient lockout, salt buildup, or when a plant suddenly stops responding to feed. In those cases, runoff can tell you what's happening in the root zone over time, not when watering, patterns across a few checks. Where growers get tripped up is using runoff pH as a daily scorecard. That's where it lies to you. Runoff is a mix of old nutrients, fresh feed, and whatever the roots didn't take up. It's noisy data, and it swings fast based on drybacks, feeding strength, and medium age. So what should you prioritize instead? Start with the plant, always. Leaf color tells you more than runoff ever will. Uniform green means things are flowing. Yellowing, striping, spotting, or burnt tips tell you what's blocked or overdone. Watch the growth rate. Healthy plants grow predictably. When growth stalls, something upstream is off. Pay attention to posture. Leaves praying or relaxed, clawing or drooping. That's water and oxygen talking. Then check inputs. Your feed pH going in, your EC or ppm consistency, your watering rhythm. Those signals are clearer, they're immediate, and they line up directly with what the plant actually can use. All right, think of runoff pH like a blood test, useful when something's wrong, not something you need every day. If you want the clearest diagnosis, trust the plant first. Confirm with data second. Okay, well, here's the mindset shift. Inputs matter, consistency matters, plant response matters. Before I bring any tools in, quick clarification. When growers hear EC or ppm parts per million, we're talking about concentration, how much stuff is actually dissolved in the water. ppm is just another way of expressing EC, different scales, same idea. If EC suddenly jumps or suddenly crashes, that's information. If it's drifting slowly and the plant looks fine, I don't touch anything. This Blue Lab ppm EC pen reads the concentration of what's in solution. Okay, it tells you more about what flushing or feeding actually changed than pH alone. I've got another tool here. This one is an advanced tool, and most growers don't need it. I'm showing it because it measures what the roots are actually sitting in, directly in the medium. And notice, this does not even ask about pH. When growers stop chasing runoff numbers and start watching how plants respond to stabilizing inputs, things smooth out fast. Fewer swings, less stress, better growth, and fewer late flower mistakes that actually cost weight. Let's land this cleanly. Runoff pH is context, not a command. Most grows don't fail because pH was slightly off. They fail because the grower chased a number instead of maintaining stability. That panic moment we talked about earlier, that's the trap. And now you know where it comes from. Before we wrap up, let me just take a quick pause, scan the chat, lots of familiar faces. Novacan Papagronazi, week 1 to 4, flower. If you don't have enough EC, would the run of pH go up? If you don't have enough EC, would the run of pH goes up? Well, you know what? It could swing up or it could swing down. I think it actually goes down when the EC is going up, the trend might be. Crop Steady shouting out, definitely learned that the hard way, Joe. I used to chase runoff numbers, then I realized exactly what MyRemy is pointing out. Great advice. Thank you, Crop Steady. All right, everybody, what's up? F1 Genetics, I agree 100%. It's a reference, not a command. What's a good pH meter? Oh, there's a bunch of them. They're pretty simple instruments. The Milwaukee one has always been a good one at this store. $32, waterproof, does a great job. All right, well, I appreciate everyone hanging out here tonight. This is MyRemy Live, we do this every week. Calm, no fluff, grow conversations that help people make better decisions. Green Zone Grow Shops is a 5,000 square foot grow shop here in Worcester, Massachusetts. Real shop, real inventory, real growers, real knowledge that keeps people from getting steered wrong. If you're local, come on by. If you're not, MyRemy is free on the website anytime. Drop your questions for future episodes and catch the replay if you missed part of this one. Real growers, real talk, no fluff. We'll see you next week, everyone. Have a great night. Peace.